It's the second weekend at the box office that a Japanese film is overperforming, and yes, the top three this box office weekend here in America looks to be taken over by Japan. Two of the top three entries, courtesy of Tokyo. Now, people in Hollywood are beginning to wonder, can they possibly compete with a place that makes movies this good for this cheap? Especially when those movies don't look cheap at all. It's getting even better, though, in terms of profitability for Godzilla, as the director there says that $15 million mark we had said it cost to make the movie? Not even close. He wishes he had had $15 million. Hello folks, welcome back to the WDW Pro channel. A joy as always. And perhaps it's as much a joy as going to watch Godzilla -1 or The Boy and the Heron. And by the way, The Boy and the Heron is looking to take the top spot for the box office. Who saw that coming? Well, some of you. Where are you, Jack White? Some of our viewers out there have been saying this was going to be a big film, and a big film it is indeed. Now, you might look at the numbers and say, well, now, come on, Pro. This is not making as much as a typical Disney movie, and you're always down on Disney. But that has to do with budgets. If you can make a movie for $2 million and it makes $10 million, that's pretty darn good. But if you make a movie that costs $250 million and you make back less than $100, well, folks, that's called losing a lot. It's called losing a lot. And that's what Disney has been doing, of course, losing lots and lots of money. But Japan, not quite the same story. They're much more frugal, and they're making very good decisions with the content that is landing upon our shores, and it is being rewarded. It is also utterly devoid of wokeness. And perhaps that should be a lesson, although I don't think it will be learned by those in California who continue to choose that their view of the world should be that which is promulgated all over the place. It's just so sad that the rest of the place doesn't want to accept that whatsoever. And the market is repudiating it solidly. Let's bring on the panel now and let's talk about The Boy and the Heron, your number one movie for the weekend. This out of Box Office Pro, and Sean Robbins, the author there, as is usually the case. One more relatively quiet weekend, and that's the thing to focus on, quiet weekend. In spite of the fact that we've had The Marvels and Wish, it has been a lot of quiet outside of Godzilla. And now that it's going to have screens, maybe it can scream much louder. Quiet weekend is on deck before the holiday season ramps up with the release of Wonka, Wobbly Wonka, on December 15th. If you've seen the reviews, you know that may struggle. First, can Beyonce repeat atop the box office in Renaissance's second frame? Answer no. Or might Hayao Miyazaki's final film contend for the honor? Did I pronounce that correctly, gentlemen?
Hayao Miyazaki, yes.
I knew I had the Miyazaki. I wasn't sure about the
And
first.
by the way, Pro, when I went to see Godzilla, they ran the trailer for this Boy and the Heron in IMAX, and it looks awfully damn good.
You could not choose a better movie to run a trailer such as this on than Godzilla. So,
and
fantastic.
What surprised me was they didn't run a trailer for Wonka. All they put up was a big slide, and it said, Timothée Chalamet is wonderful, and it had the picture of Hugh Grant, certainly a much bigger star, as the Oompa Loompa, but it didn't even have his name on it in type.
Pro panel.
He's
if I
got to
can
call
just
his
jump
agent and complain.
Tommy, jump in.
Jump in really quickly to say, if you liked that trailer by Hayao Miyazaki, then just picture that in live action, but with Link and Zelda instead.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, it's a good tie-in, Tommy. We may have to discuss in a little bit in regards to big news out of Nintendo. I think you guys covered that on That Park Place too, as well, right, Jonas?
Yes, we talked about that today. Yep.
Fantastic. Well, I want to show you guys that according to the opening weekend range, although December looks really bad, The Boy and the Heron, we have had folks out there who have super chatted and sent us member chats all telling us that this was going to wipe the floor with Wish. And I've noticed that on many shows, people would say, I don't know about that one. Well, guess what, folks? You were right, as is so often the case. When The Boy and the Heron comes out, it looks like it will indeed beat Wish head-to-head for that week in particular. So come tomorrow when this thing starts, I suspect that it's going to beat out Disney, and that's a big deal.
And I might say, a lot of people complained, rightly so, that Wish was very flat animation. This thing is flat in a Japanese way, but it works because it's got some flash to it, even within the kind of one-dimensional, two-dimensional animation.
Well, I think people are starved for this sort of thing. And if I may, one of the points that I covered in the TPP roundup today was the fact that Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Miyazaki's studio. They are what Disney used to be, basically, and they are filling that void now. And so I have absolutely no doubt that it is going to, like you said, mop the floor with Wish this weekend.
Exactly. Let's take a look at the projections we've got right now, and there's something important that we need to point out because, folks, I suspect that as we go through the weekend, there are going to be those in the mainstream corporate media who are going to misunderstand this projection that we currently have, and they're going to misquote it, they're going to misuse it, and so I want to address it before we even get there. Cut them off at the pass. Yes, The Boy and the Heron does look like it's going to take first place according to this, but I have some thoughts on that. I may actually think that this could go a different way. I'm not saying that it will, but I bet I have a better ability to prognosticate than one former weatherman that you all know. The Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, currently listed to be at second place at $9.5 million for the weekend. Renaissance, big time drop, $6.3 million. But this is the one everybody needs to pay attention to. Godzilla -1, currently listed at $6 million. But you're going to notice that there are asterisks next to every one of those numbers. There are stars next to every one of those numbers. And that's because Box Office Pro was not able to take into account this big change that is happening now. The big change being more screens, more locations, more time. And so Godzilla -1 may actually, in my estimation, it could actually have as big a second weekend as its first. And if that's the case, then you're going to see two Japanese-inspired films at the top of the box office domestically, Godzilla -1 and The Boy and the Heron. And I think at that point, ladies and gentlemen, that would be the fullest indication that Hollywood has collapsed when the American market is seeking the Japanese to fulfill what we need, and we don't have American movies anymore because of wokeism.
And let me add an asterisk to your asterisk.
Please.
When I saw The Boy and the Heron in the theater that was showing the IMAX Godzilla, it's because it's taking over that large screen.
Yes.
Which means Godzilla will be in more screens, but at lower prices per theater because it's not the premium you pay to see it in the big laser monster screen.
I have a feeling, Lou, they're going to be adjusting that too, though. I think PLFs are going to be handed over.
Yeah. Well, at least at my local theater, the one that's less than 10 minutes up the road from me, where I go to see stuff in IMAX, my Regal, tonight is the last night, at least so far as what Fandango's telling me, for it being an IMAX there. But as opposed to how it was this time yesterday, today was also supposed to be just the last day that the film was there, period. But now, if I select through the coming days, it's there, but just in the standard size screen.
And this, I think, is coming from the theaters, from the theater owners. I think the chains are demanding that they be allowed to continue to show this movie. I think that's where the impetus is at. I see we've got a chat down here that we need to take a look at. Did Pixar, this by Michael K. 19th C. Fan, did Pixar handle the dub as in previous Miyazaki movies? I don't know the answer to that. Does anybody know that one?
I would say probably not, because that connection was tied to John Lasseter, and when Disney and Miramax were distributing those films, those films go to Max in the United States. So I don't know that this particular one has gone to Max. By the way, it's Studio Ghibli, according to D. Bud Martin. In the original Italian, it's Ghibli. But they've made a joke over there at Studio Ghibli that they mispronounced it forever ago, and they're staying with it. Fairly certain that...
because for Thanksgiving, you need Ghibli and gravy.
We've had that discussion. Say no to giblets.
Well, what I find really interesting, too, about this upcoming movie is that when you look at the English cast that they've got for it, it's out of this world. You have Christian Bale, you have Dave Bautista, you have Gemma Chan, Willem Dafoe, Mark Hamill, Robert Pattinson, and Florence Pugh. Like, wow, it's almost, you can kind of almost see the Hollywood
when I saw
stars
that,
jumping off the ship.
I thought, who would ever think that that Bautista would be hired for his voice? Right. Because all the other things he's done is because he's this big hulking person, but his voice, but it shows you the name value.
Mm-hmm. That's right, and I'll hold my opinion on his voice acting abilities until I hear it.
TY Hope's channel for 320 yen. I like that. I saw The Boy and the Heron here in Japan. It's great. I believe you. I absolutely believe you.
We need it to be great, by the way, because we need our theaters to be given something that will draw people in, and they don't have
yen
anything.
for great movies.
Yeah.
TY, it's 7 a.m. in Japan right now. What are you doing awake? Go back
What
to
would you
bed.
not be doing? You wake up to see the pro show. That's what you do. Absolutely.
Bass player Iffy for $10. You mean a film from a studio that has made some of the most beautifully animated films in history is going to trump the Rat? Nah, that will never happen.
Never, no.
Yeah, and we can thank some of the popularity of Studio Ghibli over here right now to John Lasseter, because I don't think it would have happened without him.
Well, folks, we hope that you had a good time with us today. It's always a joy when you join us. Thank you so much. We continue to endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve. And every time you click on one of these videos and tune in, that helps us do that even more. Folks, if you like content like this, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe. And when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, as we always say, wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.